So the first thing we're going to learn in innovative arts is how our brains work. If we know how our brains work, it's a lot easier to make them work better. If we have no idea how our brains work, then we can just do random things and guess. But if we really start thinking, okay, this is what will help my brain learn this, then we can start working better and working towards a goal. For example, I didn't learn how to study until I was in college. I was struggling in school for a long time until I realized what I needed to do to help my brain learn something. For me, I have to draw a big old map of whatever it is we're learning, and I draw arrows between different things and write little notes, and I get a whole lot of notes on one sheet of paper. And by the time all those drawings and arrows and notes are on there, I really kind of understand it. That's what works for me, and I only learned that when I was a sophomore in college. So if I had to learn that when I was in middle school, school would have been a lot easier for me. Well, one thing that you need to learn about your brain, the first thing we're going to talk about is what makes up our brain. Our brain is made up a lot of neurons, and those neurons, by themselves, they can't do very much. Neurons by themselves couldn't do anything. Doesn't matter how many you have. What's important about a neuron is the connections between all those neurons. So if you have 100 billion neurons, that means you can have trillions and trillions of connections inside of your brain. And those connections are what we know and what we learn. So in elementary school, you probably learned that clouds are made out of water. There's a connection in your brain connecting the cloud spot, connecting through something to water. And that connection is how you remember that. And so if you want to build more connections, we need to kind of figure out how that can go. So to build some connections and to see how this works, we're going to be learning where the keys are on this keyboard. So it's really difficult when you are in elementary school. Elementary school students, you're just trying to figure out where the keys are. But now what we can do is something special. If you put your hands in the same place every time, then every single time you press this button right here, it's F. And you don't even have to look down, you don't have to think about it, you don't even have to really remember that this is where the F, you'll just hit it automatically because you'll have a connection in your brain saying, oh, F is always right there. And so that connection in your brain, if we can get that practice and if we can learn it, will make you a faster typer, and faster typers are able to do their assignments faster, able to do their homework more quickly. If you can type fast in high school, you can probably get something done during class that the slow typers can't get done during class. So the fast typers are getting done without any homework, and the slow typers have to go home and continue typing slowly. So what we're going to do is practice where the F key is. With the other hand, your other index finger is on the J key, and then where the space key is. We're going to go to typing.com and start all over. It doesn't matter if you're an advanced, doesn't matter if you're an intermediate. What matters is, are you going to make the connection in your brain so that you know where these keys are without looking? Now the first exercise says F, J, and space. And if you can learn that this finger is always F, this other index finger is always J, and your thumb is always on space, you don't have to look down for those keys ever again in your life. The next lesson teaches you that the J finger reaches up to hit U. When you're practicing it, you definitely don't want to move your hand sideways and go like this, because then you're training this finger. Oh, this finger is U right now. But is your hand ever going to be like this ever again? No. What you want to do is practice reaching up with that finger, and as soon as you learn, oh, this, when I push straight down, it's F. When I reach up, it's always R in this case. Then it's much easier to type because there's only 26 letters that you have to learn. And if you practice where the keys are without looking at your fingers, then you can become a fast typer too. So we're going to learn how our brains work by practicing looking at these different keys. We're going to practice making our brains work faster, making connections between, okay, this finger is always F. If I reach up, it's R. If I reach down, it's V. Eventually, you won't even have to think about it. Your fingers just go fast. If you've ever seen a fast typer, you know that they're not thinking about it because their brains have those connections so well made. So, it's a great lesson on how our brains work because it might be difficult at first, and if you have a habit, if you've got the connections in your brain that are telling you to look down all the time, you might have to struggle with yourself a little bit and say, nope, I am not going to look down. I'm going to always keep looking at the screen and focus on learning where these keys are so that I don't have to look down. The worst thing you can do is to turn your hand sideways and just try to go really fast through the exercise, because you're not going to remember that. Your hand isn't going to be sideways after that point, and so all of that practice is for nothing. So if you can self-discipline yourself, if you can make yourself say, I am not going to look down at my keyboard, then when you go back to the beginning and you start F, J, and space, keep going through the exercises and don't look down at your fingers anymore. That's the trick. You're going to head over to typing.com, and there is a link in Schoology, should be right beneath this video, that you need to click to get added to the class. So you're not required to be very far, but you need to start all over, go back to beginner. All you have to do is click beginner, start at the very beginning, F, J, space, and do not look at your fingers any longer. It slows you down. It's not easier. It slows you down. So that's our first exercise. 15 minutes of going to typing.com and practicing typing. Please look for an access code beneath this video to show you how to get there and get you signed into the class so I can see that you've actually done the practice. But if you do this practice, you have to remember it's going to save you time later. I'm 34 years old right now. I'm still doing these practice exercises because it's making me faster, and it's still worth the time even though I'm an old guy. You guys are young, and if you learn how to do these keys more quickly, you'll be saving time every single day when you're 15, when you're 16, when you're 17, when you're 18. Keyboards aren't going away. So take your time. Don't be in a rush to get through any of the exercises, but make it so you do not look down as you do these exercises. Please let me know your questions. Please contact me or anything else. Thank you.